Hey, that's not the one we're going to use. We're going to use this one. Welcome to the closing beat, everybody. Happy Monday to you. How is everybody doing? All is good? Hope you had a good weekend. We are financial advisors here at Jazz Wealth. Let our family be your family's financial advisor. That's the quote we were working on, but then Eric told me one a minute ago from one of his clients there. Small enough to care, big enough to deliver. Oh my God, Paul. I think it was Paul. That's good. I like that one there, but we're working on it. Little by little here, we'll get things straight. You just got to grow up a little bit, have better marketing there. Hey, our Wine and Wealth class, last week we talked about things you might want to consider as your kids become independent. A lot of kids graduating this last weekend and weekends coming up here. Not just the boring stuff, went into some of the geeky details of things that you may want to look at and factor in now that the kids are going off to college, or, you know, maybe they're just graduating high school or college and going off and starting a new life there. Whatever it is, good luck to all you potential empty nesters out there. All right, let's take a look at the stock market here today. Oh, we got to do the Guess the Dow winner? Oh, it was on the thing.
Yeah, it was on the homepage. Yeah.
Shoot.
Congrats to Silk. Not a client.
Nope,
They were last
not
week's
there.
Guess the Dow winner. Yeah.
Silk one, not a client, and so they get the gift card, right?
They're getting the gift card. Yep. They just.
We get their address and everything?
Yep. She just emailed back. They just emailed back.
Yeah, funny. You email somebody and you're like, hey, heard you wanted to join Jazz, you know, and they're like, yeah, I'll get around to it. But then you're like, you won Guess the Dow, and they're like, this is my address.
Yeah. Oh, they're always very quick.
I love it. Well, you should, you know, if you were the closest without going over, well, good for you. You know what I mean? Look at the charts here. Here's the Dow, by the way. A little bit of a pullback last week. Did you know that we have had 5 days in a row? That streak of losses ends today, of course, with the slight gain there. But if you look at the S&P, it's the same thing. 5 of the last days were finished negative, even though some of them rallied off of their lows. 9 of the last 10 have been down, but you would have never noticed, right? Because the market hasn't really moved. It's been in these short, little, tiny, narrow range days. That's a problem. Think about what happens. And just hang with me for a second. You have your 401k, your IRA here with Jazz, right? Because you love us. And your brokerage accounts, whatever. The markets are just going along like this, which is totally abnormal for them to have these little tiny, narrow ranges. You get lulled into that quietness, right? It's like when you're sleeping in the middle of the night. There's no loud noises coming from anywhere. And if the dog so much as sneezes, you think it's an earthquake that's happening, right? Well, the same thing happens in the market. We go over here, we look at this little guy. Oh, so cute, nice and quiet and stuff. The first big day that we have, whether it be a breakout day, because we're kind of coiling up here, or whether it be just a bad day and the markets fall 1%, you're going to think it's going to feel like so much bigger of a day. And this happens so often. I can tell because the emails I get. When the market's quiet, has a big move, that does not mean that we're blasting off or crashing. It just means we've had a bigger range day than what we've seen. It's been quiet, and we had a slightly bigger day. So be ready for that. I'm telling you. You could probably all, wherever the chat's at, you guys could probably tell me that you've fallen for that. I've fallen for it. Quiet summertime days, and then you're out on the boat or whatever you do on the summer days, and then all of a sudden you see a market move of 1%, and you go, I got to get back. There's something's going on. No, it's just kind of a normal day. It's just not what we've been seeing. So that's what's going on here, and there's a kind of a big reason to expect that that continues for the moment. We started the day lower here. We had a Fed member, Raphael Bostic, I think is how you say his name. He spoke 4 times today. I don't know. This guy woke up and said, let's get out there and give the message there. But one of his comments was, inflation is not coming down quickly. And I would disagree. Would you know that inflation is actually going down faster than it went up? You can actually look at the rate of change on the way up, the rate of change on the way down. It's falling faster than it has gone up. It just has not fallen all the way back to where we started. And one other thing, remember, inflation is going up. Although it's pulling back, that means it's not going up as much. So when you don't fall for that trap, when you're out there looking and you're like, I would buy this product if the prices come down. As soon as inflation comes down, I will buy that product. No. That doesn't mean the price comes down. That means the speed at which the price is going up is going slower. I find that a lot of people fall for that, or I hear that comment a lot there. Now, the good news is that if we look at the rate of the pullback in inflation, it lends a hand towards the soft landing. You know what I mean? So if you're sort of against that one there, yeah, soft landing in the works. That one Fed member, though, that Raphael Bostic, he spoke 4 times between appearances, TV appearances, speeches, and comments 4 times. Him plus 3, there were 3 other Fed members that spoke today. Tomorrow, there will be 4 more, and then Raphael Bostic again, so a total of 5. These guys are out in force. I'm not sure what to make of that yet because you don't normally see them all sort of around the same thing. And I'll give them one benefit of the doubt. Some of them are doing commencement speeches, so maybe it's graduation, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, the S&P, we lose our streak of losses for 5 days in a row. You probably didn't even notice. 9 days out of 10, we were down there just because of the small days there. And if we look, the S&P, up about 8% year to date, 7.73% year to date here for the S&P. However, and I put this in the notes from Jazz over the weekend, we talked about whether you look back 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months. See what I just did there? You're in the same spot, give or take a percent. So 1 month, 3, 6, 9, 12, 9, 12. There you go. In other words, if you had invested 12 months ago at this very moment, you've been through a little bit of a roller coaster, more down than up, but you're right back where you started. So if you have in your head, I'm putting money in my 401k, my IRA, whatever, and it's not doing anything, you're right. That's exactly where we stand. That is not true for everything, but it is true for the S&P at the moment there. What does that tell you? What do? Do you invest more? Do you sell and run away? No. They do. It's called SOH. Sit on your hands. I don't know why the yours not in there, but you sit on your hands. Meaning you will do something silly if you force your hand right now. It is not the time to force your hand. You can make changes, of course, but it's not the time to say, back the truck up, let me put a whole lot of money into the S&P anyways. That could very quickly be proven wrong because what are we doing here? Over the last 12 months, what do we have? Chaos. Well, compared to what we have now, less, even less. We're calming down. Someone threw a boulder into a pool and we have a splash and then the wave and then the wave. Uh-oh, all of a sudden it's dissipating. In this case, whereas in the pool's example, the water returns back to level, in this example, what it means is we're coiling up. Energy is being built up. The market doesn't like to stay in one place forever. And at the moment, that energy is building up right here in this tight little range, attempting possibly a breakout there. So something to keep in mind. We make some action soon. The NASDAQ's totally different story here. It just continues to grind higher. We're in this nice little channel higher. Even the Russell, I would say, is a different story. I want to share something here with you. If you had invested in the old NASDAQ, if we take a look at each index, the average stock in the NASDAQ 100 is up double digits. No other index can say that. In the S&P 100, not as popular anymore, 3.82%. S&P 500, the average stock is up 1.44%. In other words, year to date, we're seeing the impact of that market moving sideways through the different time periods there. 1.44%. S&P 400, largely focused on mid-cap, if you're familiar with that. You probably see this more in your 401ks and stuff. And the Russell 2000, the average stock is actually negative. So if you have the Russell 2000, or you're saying, I like that, Give me, oh, come on. If you like a discount, you're looking there. If you like momentum, you're looking in the NASDAQ. Very tricky spot to be chasing at this point, but some people like that, you know, we'll buy something higher and sell it higher. Some people like to buy things lower and hope that they go higher. That would be the Russell, and the higher and higher would be the NASDAQ there. So you've got choices. It's just, it feels like one of those times where you go, I almost want to walk away for a minute. You know what I mean? I just want to see. If we break out in the S&P, like we've talked about, I know I'm rambling a little bit, hang with me. If we break out, okay, now I want to participate. Now I know that there's going to be action, and technical traders will love this. Fundamental traders will argue price all day long, but they'll still be forced to get into the market. Right here, that's your magic number. Everyone's looking at the same exact thing. And if you do something beforehand, you are essentially betting that it will break out and then some, okay? So keep that in mind. And if you're one of our clients, we've done lots of classes on risk to reward. Specifically, when you pick a stock, how do you determine the risk to reward? What's reasonable? What's way outside the box? And hopefully you'll have a chance to check out those. If not, we'll do them all again for you. All right, let's do some stocks in the news here. Oops. All right, first up, you got Tesla here. China, this came out, well, it wasn't yesterday. It would have been over the weekend. Recalling 1.1 million vehicles, the pedal. Well, you can't call it the gas pedal, so what would you, the accelerator, right? Recall issues for 1.1 million of their cars because of accelerator issues. Here we go, Magellan Mainstream in the news here. ONEOK is going to be buying them, and it came out to 67 something a share. 67.50. So if you saw a big pop in that stock, that's why you're seeing it there. Shake Shack, we happen to own it here. It's got an activist investor in here. So earnings is what kicked things off. And today we find out that there's an activist investor. He's trying to get 2 or 3 board seats on Shake Shack there. It's fine by me. I don't know. Those stocks keeps going higher. We'll enjoy it. Sarepta Therapeutics, but it's Sarepta Pharmaceutical there. I've kind of made it a mission here lately to better understand the biotech market. If you know me for any length of time, I avoid it. I tend to get bored by it. My eyes gloss over. I don't understand I can't say half the diseases that are out there, and I can't certainly say half the medications that are out there. But this one I thought found so interesting that I started reading up more on it. And I started asking my wife more about it because she knows all the words and can help me with that. They essentially got approval to let their muscular dystrophy drug, which is for people who could still walk, muscular dystrophy, and they're now able to send it to the FDA for approval and largely expected to get it approved. Now, this vote barely passed, but it's a lot more stringent than when it goes to the FDA. Now, as far as the stock, let's say you don't care. I don't know, Dustin. You read all that stuff. I'm not interested. Is it worth $157 a share? You know what they do? When a new drug comes out, they go, best case scenario, how many dollars can they sell if it's approved by the FDA? On the low end, how many dollars can they sell if it's approved? On the low end, 80 million, not very much. On the high end, $3.2 billion. That means that this stock is worth somewhere between $200 per share and $80 per share. See why I don't like these biotechs? There's at the moment no other way to value that stock at any other number between those two numbers. I mean, aside from where the market values it, but that's your best case, that's your worst case. So right now, optimism is high. There were 8 yeses and 6 nos, so it was a close vote there, but people are shooting for $200 a mark. If this thing rockets up to $200 a share, you watch, you won't see it go much further because you can't assume that even with that product selling as efficiently as possible, that they could make any more money. So if you're an optimist, now you know. Hey, Baidu, we happen to own this one as well. Happy to see that one bouncing. And by the way, ahead of earnings. They report earnings tomorrow, so that's pretty cool to see that getting a head start. No, it's not because people knew something. All across China last night was all positive. Green, basically across the board, just a sea of green there. And the reason for that, if you've been following over there, now you can attach your conspiracy theory to it, but I'm going to tell you what's happening. In really simple terms, China, the country, is forcing their banks to prop up the yuan. And the way they're doing that is when the yuan gets weak, they sell US dollars to buy their currency. And so a lot of people say, oh, they're getting rid of all the dollars and they want nothing to do. That could be true. I don't know. All I know is we can see that they're selling the dollars every time their currency gets weak in order to prop it up. It's not China. They're forcing the Chinese banks to go and do that. It's a different country over there. They're allowed to do that. What becomes of it, I don't know. They still have lots of dollars to sell off, but that's what's happening at the moment, causing their markets to do quite well. Okay, Jazz After Dark here tonight. We are going to talk about some very, very clear data and how I can tell people are investing, preparing, and moving their investments for a recession. You are not moving your investments towards taking more risk. So we're going to take a look at that, see if that helps you there. Last week we did a really kind of a geeky thing on how dividends from ETFs are potentially tax-free and not actually dividends. So if you want to learn about that, you can check that out, go over the actual data on that. Done a lot of good ones here lately there. Cool things that wealth managers can do that you've probably never heard of there. And, talking about the Fed and all kinds of good stuff. So come hang out with us tonight at 7 o'clock. And I will maybe, see what we can do. See if we can come up with some new and cool things to chat with you about. In the meantime, I will try to pop out the old chat here. See what I can do to take some questions there, if there are any questions. And I'm just now popping it out. So if you asked a question, I will not be able to scroll back and see it. Apologies for that there. Semiconductors, so Kenny is saying semiconductors and names like Micron. Anything in that space had a good day. Broadcom, Advanced Digital, NVIDIA, Texas Instruments. Your better performers were like Qorvo and Skyworks. Manpower was another one. I say Manpower, but it's MPWR. All with gains of over 1%. You might find this more interesting, right? Because you like the idea of, look, right there. Why did it stop at that price today? I always ask that question. I think it's fun. Why didn't the stock go up another $1? Why did it stop right there at that price? That's because that's where it has stopped for the last 6, now 7 months. And so anything above that's going to get people real excited. And I'm sorry, the last 11 months. Yeah. Yeah. I sold calls Friday. So you sold calls 4/16. So you're saying, to expire on Friday. So you're saying we will not break out before Friday or until after Friday. Okay. Gutsy. I like it. And I'll give you that. There's no real, what would be the news? What would be the catalyst? Is there some economic event, some earnings or anything that can do it? Not really. So we'll cheer for the market to be sideways for you, Brent. You think natural gas has bottomed out? It has appeared to have bottomed out in the short term. There is just no good reason for that to rocket higher. Why would natural gas become really expensive? Meaning it's a worthwhile investment. What is it? Is there something there? So remember, contrarian investors, we like to have some belief or some we like to have some eye for the art of guessing a bottom, which is an art, not a science. But once you do that, there's still the reward part of it. You took the risk that that's the bottom. Now, what's the reward? Is there a chance that it goes up $3, $4, $5? Nothing in the futures market to say that. Yeah. MD, do you believe there's going to be a major drop of 25 to 40%? Statistically, no. I'll actually share that with you tonight. We'll go over each drop over every recession and talk about why you need to have basically a third of all people just stop paying their mortgages here in the United States. You have to have a major unrest against people that don't want to pay their student loans once they have to start paying them back here after the summer. And, for the time being, I just don't see that. Chris says eventually, eventually there will be one at some point, one day, of course. Their last one was in 2008. That was the biggest one that we've seen out of the recessionary drops, of course. Yeah. Very nice, very nice. All right, I am going to get ready for our Jazz After Dark here tonight. Hope you will join us for that. Appreciate all of you watching, though, really do. Helps us get our name out there little by little. We are a small fish in a big pond, and we enjoy playing in that pond. Carefully, though, because we'll get people coming after you and stuff. Anyways, enjoy the rest of your day or evening, and we'll see you tonight. All right, adios. Yeah. Jazz Wealth, we treat you like family. That was going to be our slogan, but the employees here took it a little too seriously.
You bought what? That wasn't in the plan that I built for you.
Oh, quit crying.
Don't spend one more dollar.
I'm gonna start calling you Sylvester because you sound like a real.
Tú siempre estás llorando como un bebé, llorancito.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. That's how you get your identity stolen.
We decided to go with let our family be your family's advisor.